Evening, folks. Thanks for coming in. Hope you're all safe and well. And happy Mother's Day to all you mothers. I know it's nearly over. Well, it is in the UK. To all you mothers out there, I hope you get spoiled silly and, church flowers, chocolates, all the usual crap sort of stuff. But tonight we finally get this guy on. We'd arranged previously a couple of times to get him on, but, life gets in the way. But now we've got Paul at Pulse on. Finally, Paul is I'm going to get this wrong probably, because I've not researched the guy, but we'll just talk about that before we come on live, actually. Good evening, Paul. He's a life coach.
How are you, Scott?
I'm fine, bud. I'm fine. I'm looking good. Apart from that, cut myself shaving this morning.
Oh, that's why I don't shave. He's too dangerous to be around your throat with a knife.
No, I need to shave, swear. I see after about a day or two, if I don't shave, I don't have that rugged kind of manly look like what you have. You know what I mean? I just look like a vagrant, basically. You know what I mean? Either that's with the island for Phantom Seekers Paranormal. She was out with us 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago today. It's flew in. She was out investigating us in Highland Paranormal. No, I need to shave. And because I know it, and then the other thing, there's Laura's one of ours. She was down here Friday night having a wee drink, I will add as well. She was with her and Sarah, my other half. I fell asleep, it's the other day you're sitting having a beer and you just kind of, next thing it's lights out.
I thought you Scots were supposed to be able to handle your ale.
I don't drink all that much. I was never a heavy drinker, but I drove the trucks for about 20 years. And in between that, I'd done a lot of driving. So my drinking was kind of limited to maybe a Friday night, or a Saturday night sort of thing. So I do a lot of driving the news it is. So I very rarely drink. It's a sign of something. It's a sign of too many beers. It's no your company lost. It was the beer. Plus, I did a long, busy day. But no, so Scots are famous for handling their drinking stuff. But I hardly drink now at all. But
I heard a thing a few years ago, which you might like or you might not. And that was, they asked the question, if you went to a wedding and it was dry, would you still go? And, some people say no, because, alcohol is just part of weddings. But then this kind of said, well, if you was going for a night out and everybody agreed they weren't going to drink, and you kind of dreaded that as a night out because there was been no alcohol, you go, well, if there's no alcohol and you're dreading it, you think it's going to be a rubbish night. Is that because you're boring, your friends are boring, or because you're boring, that you can't manage a night out without alcohol?
I've been in that situation. I've been a designated driver, that dreaded position quite a few times, and you're sitting there with Diet Pepsi or whatever, and everybody else around you's drunk and talking a load of rubbish. But when we're drunk, everything makes perfect sense, But when you're sober and everybody around you's drunk and they're all trying to talk to you at the same time about all different things,
But doesn't that make you think, like, when you are that sober guy, and I don't drink at all, would you want to swap positions with your drunk mate?
Yes and no. yes, because I would be able to understand what they were talking about and think they were talking sense.
Yeah.
But no, because I know they're going to be hungover in the morning.
And also, I think as the sober person, you understand what rubbish they're talking.
Aye, that's when you realise just how much crap your friends actually talk. When you're so, and then they all start telling you, you know, they get to that stage at the night where they tell you, they all tell you at the same time that they love you,
Yeah.
you know, because you're driving them home. Oh, I love you. You drive me home. You're a star. I've always admired you. And all that ball thing. I just want the night to be over with. You know?
I've took one or two drunk blokes back to their wives and kind of drop them at the doorstep and kind of go, I think this belongs to you. And she's like, thank you so much for bringing him back.
When I was in that position, Sarah and I were with a certain person. I'm not going to name that person, but just let's say they were hammered, and we took them home to their other half, and the other half came out to greet us at the car, and I just said, you know, good luck, you know, see you later, and we, away we went. I was saying, rather put jammies on, watch something interesting at home. I've actually got my jammies on, no this, in the bottom half. Nothing worse than being sober in a room full of addled. I don't know what that means. Screaming voice. No, there's no Eileen. Definitely.
I think addled means drunk.
Well, Eileen, she's for the East Coast, so that might be an East Coast word. I don't know. You know, I tell you all the time I love you and you're a gem of a man. And that's sober, that's Laura. You know, who still owes me some tea cakes, by the way. But we'll not go there. So anyway, as I say to you, Paul, before we started, our shows can go anywhere, do you know what I mean? Usually first off we end up talking about the guest, but so that it just goes the way it goes, basically. So so you're a life coach. So what does that entail? Give us a rundown. What does a coach of life do?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. So I normally answer that with a question. I say to you, what does a tennis coach do for you?
Teaches you to play tennis.
So that's basically it, isn't it? It's how does a tennis coach get the best tennis out of a player? So from a life coach's perspective, the question is, how can I help you improve your life? So one of the questions I start with is, where are you today? Where do you want to be tomorrow? And how are you going to get there? Because some people know where they are and know where they want to be, but they're not quite sure how to get there. Or they kind of halfway there, but they've come to a hurdle that they can't seem to cross. So I have all of the questions and none of the answers, which kind of says, well, what use are you? But the idea is that all of the answers are within each of us. Your answers are inside you and my answers are inside me. Because I don't know enough about your back history to be able to tell you what to do.
So is it, like say, you know, I just know the answers are within you. So I might get this, I'll get this wrong, but we'll go for it anyway. Yeah. The person knows the answer inside them, but they just don't know how to bring it out.
Yeah, because I think the majority of people deep down know their insecurities, they know their fears, they know the things that they're not doing that they should be doing. So it's trying to work out better strategies and work out how to get you to do the things that you should do. So if you take for yourself, and we won't turn this into a coaching session, but if, for instance, you said, I want to get 1 million subscribers on YouTube for Paranormal in History. If that was what you came to me for, I would be saying, well, what have you tried so far? What's working? What's not working? What are you prepared to change? What is the things that you're not doing that you should be doing? So that might be sorting out SEO, and that might be getting other people to look at, you know, the text that you use on your descriptions. It might be getting better pictures and better thumbnails. So it's trying to come up with ideas, and often the person knows deep down, but because we're all got fear inside us for something, it's me asking the questions that you can't ask yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we could all ask them, we'd have been sorted.
You'd do your job.
So that's the thing. Is the other thing is not letting people off the hook, because a lot of people, I'll say to you, what are you doing that you shouldn't, or what should you be doing that you aren't? And people will go, I don't know. I go, yeah, like you're not 7. You can't say I don't know. Like, give me something. Give me something to work with, and let's see where we go. But people become worried of being judged. So there's a fear inside of being judged for a lot of people. And so they even don't want to be necessarily judged by themselves. So they hide in procrastination, in perfectionism, whatever it is that makes them struggle to get from A, where they are now, to B, where they want to be.
It's something like, for what you're saying, again, I may have this wrong, but it's something we've spoken about in quite a lot of shows, the paranormal. There's a lot of people out there that are into the paranormal or interested in the paranormal, but they keep it to themselves for fear of being judged.
Yeah.
Or, slagged off, ridiculed, but whatever you want to call it. I mean, we've met, quite a lot of people at the time we've been doing this that, so what is it you doing? I say, well, paranormal investigator. I'm right into that, but I don't talk about it because nobody really understands it. And, I might get slagged off. So there's something along those lines.
Well, so why do you think people fear being judged by other people?
Pride, basically, is it no?
Well, I mean, there's a bit of pride and there's a bit
confidence.
Of ego, confidence, yeah, for sure. But inherently, we've lived in tribes for the last 10, 12,000 years. Before that, we were nomadic. We were hunter-gatherers. So we would go out and find the food. Then we became farmers about 10, 12,000 years ago. Nobody knows exactly. So we're used to being in tribes, in other words, in groups of about 150. That's kind of what they think is the optimum number. Like, we're living in city of millions now, which is not particularly healthy. We really want to be in tribes of 150. But the fear of being judged by your tribe negatively and kicked out is ultimately the fear within most of us, and certainly being judged by others. Because the danger of being judged by others over the last 10,000 years is, if there's 150 pairs of eyes looking for tigers, you stay safe. If you're negatively judged by the people around you and you're kicked out of the tribe, then you get eaten in your sleep. So effectively, being judged negatively by other people in our brains means death. So when you say to somebody public speaking and they go, "Ooh," like they get the sweats on, you're not even asking them to it. You just say public speaking, and that's an inbuilt, completely normal, completely natural fear of being judged by the people around you, your tribe. But you're not going to die from public speaking or creating a podcast. Like, so many people, they think, myself included, like, was thinking about putting videos onto YouTube or onto Facebook for 12 months before I did it. And then suddenly, like, as a coach, the penny drops and you go, "Oh, Paul, you're a bit of a twit, aren't you? Because you're teaching everybody else this, and you still got the fear inside you." Because the problem is that none of us are the finished article.
I would say people can be held back because of positive. I won't find well. Seeing it's Sunday, positiveness. You can't really say what you like to at times because of social restrictions governed by the woke brigade. But no, I get what Eileen means.
Scott, let me just challenge her with that. Let me just challenge her with that, because it's what I do as a coach, right? You can't really say what you'd like to at times because of social restrictions governed by the woke brigade, right? Does Ricky Gervais believe that? No, because Ricky Gervais will say flipping anything to anybody. Like that idea is within yourself. You can say exactly what you want. Like there's consequences to actions, but ultimately, I saw this video years ago. You know, when you're going through YouTube and you end up down a rabbit warren to nowhere. I saw this really rubbish video, but it had one piece of genius on it, and it was dating ideas for blokes, right? I don't know how I ended up there, but anyway, so I was watching this thing, and it said, whatever you do, tell the truth, right? And it used the example of being a Trekkie, of being a Star Trek fan, right? If you're a Star Trek fan, tell everybody, because the last thing you want to be doing, particularly if you're dating, is to not tell them, get 6 months in, and then she goes to you, oh, I hate Trekkies. I just won't spend any time with them. And then you're 6 months in, and she's dating somebody that she don't think she's dating. So if you do tell the truth and you speak whatever it is you want to say, the people, the woke brigade, that's a tongue twister, isn't it? The woke brigade, if you don't want them around you, tell your truth. They'll not stay around you for very long. Then you can say whatever you want.
I put his comments up there, would come back to that. Laura says, it's like the idea of Abraham Maslow's hierarchy. You have to start at the bottom and strive to get to the top. Of the problem is you can never achieve perfection, and therefore you're judged for not reaching perfection, but never praised for where you are. Hey, Laura, you just totally lost me with that comment. Sorry,
So very quickly, Maslow's hierarchy. It's like a pyramid, right? Perfection.
Laura spoke about that before, actually.
Perfection's at the top, right? And at the bottom, so the bottom layer is things like shelter, food, water, warmth, clothing. Love can go on that level. It can go on the next level. So, and as you go up each level, you get more towards perfection. So if you take any stone out, the pyramid falls down. That's the idea. So in other words, if you take those that I've just said, heat, shelter, food, water, clothing, if you take like shelter away, right, and so you think of a person that's homeless, how happy are they How happy are they likely to be? Without shelter, you're not very happy at all. Without food, you're not very happy at all. So if you take a building block from the bottom, you can't ever get to the top, to the perfection and to happiness.
Right, after I've got you doing that, I'm sure. Was it Lawrence Sarah we're talking about? I don't know. The pyramid sounds familiar, but I mean, I'm as thick as mince, when it comes to all that technical stuff and all the rest of it. So,
Scott, can you just bring Laura's other phrase up? There we go. Reaching perfection, but never praise for where you are. The problem with that, Laura, is never praised. In other words, you're looking for outside validation. as opposed to looking from it from inside, because no matter how much validation you get from outside, it's temporary. So here's a question for you, Scott. If your work colleague or friend or partner, if they did something really good, right, they achieved something, and you were going to praise them, would you say that's really clever, well done? Would you say you worked really hard on that, well done? Or would you give them a high five? Or not which would you do, which would be the most beneficial for the person receiving that? So you've got, that's really clever, you've worked really hard, or a high five?
I would say, being a glass region, I would say a high five, because, you know, you're still giving them a recognition that, you know, whatever it is, they've done it well, rather than giving them a big long spiel, or, you know, you're giving them a high five, and that kind of encompasses everything. You know, the well done, you worked hard, all the rest. It's basically say, you know, good job. I've done it myself before, you know, in a work situation. If somebody's done something quick or something, you say, you know, spot on, my man, or something like that, and that's it. You know.
Great.
So I would go with the high five option, because you're basically saying, aye, well done, that's it.
So if you think about it, if you think you say to somebody, that's really clever, well done. Well, cleverness is nothing to do with you, because you inherited that from your parents. It's genetic, and you can't improve it. Like your IQ is your IQ. So that has very little validation. You worked very hard. It's easy. Yes, that's an internal thing, that you're driver. So you worked hard for that. But it's very easy to go, oh, I could have worked harder. I could have done a bit better. So it's better than saying about their intelligence, but a high five is way better. Because if I high five you, right, I'm showing my appreciation for what you did, but also the receiver is kind of internally going, yeah, I did a good job there.
Mm-hmm.
So a trick that you can use for confidence, that people can take this away and use, is in the morning or at night, when you're in the bathroom and the mirror's there, high five the mirror. Because it has the same effect within your head about releasing dopamine, that you'll get a happy feeling. Like you won't if you go high five, right? But if you go high five, it like releases dopamine. It makes you feel better, which all helps with your motivation and stuff. So that's just an easy thing to do. But like I high five people all the time.
Yeah, it's nice to have stick these two things up my island first. I say anyway, as Scott knows, but most don't. Fearful. Eileen speaks her mind. She's something the same with myself. I just, you know, as we were saying earlier on, I always refer to what we were saying earlier on, a lot of people are scared to say what they think or what they feel, or, you know, what they like or whatever, for fear of maybe, as I say, ridicule, slagging off. But Eileen's the same. And so's Laura, so's Sarah. Maybe it's just people in the paranormal like that. But, you know, I'll say it anyway. And if people don't like it, they can jog on.
Well, so again, I'm loving the fact that you bring these phrases up, that I can see this. So that where it said, and it's just gone again.
Oh, sorry.
So the fear of exclusion, yeah, that's the fear of being judged by other people, being kicked out of the tribe and dying because you get eaten by a tiger. That's what fear of exclusion means, right?
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, that fear of exclusion means you're mixing with the wrong people. If you can't say what it is that you want to say, you're mixing with the wrong people. You're in the wrong tribe. Try and find a tribe that wants to hear what it is that you've got to say.
It also says positive strokes achieve a lot of managing people. Well, saying you have a point with fair, Paul, but human nature is always to seek others' approvals to be accepted and all, and that all encompasses confidence and self-belief.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. But if you're in the wrong tribe, you have to lie to get that affirmation or to get that positive feelings from people. Because if you're having to, it's like being economical with the truth, isn't it? Economical with the truth is lying. White lies. It's lying. Like, tell the truth to the people that want to hear it.
I think it's got a lot of things in life, and I think it's just the way, that society is. I'll give back. I'll use the paranormal again. Yeah. I've had many people in here and we've spoken about, people that are in the paranormal, but they don't tell people, at work or family, whatever, in case of, well, it's, that's a weirdo. They go looking for ghosts and stuff like that. With the old movie scenario, you get the weird kid that sits in the corner, and so they are. How do you put it? They are weary of getting slagged off. I mean, I've always been in the frame of mind. I'm who I am. You don't like it. I mean, when I was at school, not that long ago. I'm going to add that. That long ago. But I mean, I was with Chalk E. Cheese. I'm a massive Elvis fan, as everybody knows me. And my room, when I stayed with my mum, was wall to wall Elvis. You could not see a bit of the wall. The Elvis door, everything was covered. But I was also into like Meatloaf, Iron Maiden, and stuff like that. And I've also, so I used to grow my hair, and I'd have a leather jacket and the denim cut off and stuff like that. Yeah. And if I had a girlfriend at the time, then if I took them to the house, they were probably expecting Meatloaf or something, Satan all over the wall. And I take them into my room and it was covered in Elvis. And I thought, like, something doesn't quite fit here. But I used to tell people, I'm a massive Elvis fan. And people used to slag me for it. I said, I don't care. Slag me if you want. It's who I like, it's what I am,
So why do you think then that you don't care what people think of you?
It's just, I've got a few, I'll start your comments up in a wee second, folks. It's just the way I've always been. I think my dad was the same. He just turned around and if he had something on his mind, he would just tell you. And if you didn't like it, then he had quite a laid-back attitude to life. And if you didn't like what he said, then he's like, on you go, cheerio. Go and have a crappy life yourself. And,
So we're all a product of our upbringing, for good or for bad, right? And so what tends to happen is you either go the same way as your parents or the opposite way, right? So if you take, for instance, talking freely, if we take that as a subject, you could look at that as you appear to have done and gone, well, that makes perfect sense. I'm definitely going to follow what my dad did. But equally, you could have gone, oh, that gets him in so much trouble. I'm not doing that. And you go the opposite way. And so if you're brought up by alcoholics, you either go normally the same way or the opposite way. So you go, that alcohol really works. It worked for my dad. I'm going to drink a lot. Or you go, well, that don't work at all. I'm not drinking at all. So what you tend to find is, and there's a million kind of categories, subjects that you could think of. Smoking. My dad smokes, so I smoke. My dad smokes, so I definitely don't smoke. What you tend to find is that most people, if they're brought up by an alcoholic, they're not casual drinkers. They're either hardcore drinkers or teetotal. So if you think about it for yourself, your dad was a plain speaker, and so you've become a plain speaker. For the people that often struggle to speak up, for instance, they were either doing the same as their parents or the opposite of their parents. So the kid that sat in the corner saying nothing, well, either his parents talked a lot and so he didn't, or his parents didn't talk. They were sat in the corner as well, and so were their grandparents. And they've picked that up as a character trait.
I'll stick these comments up, Paul, 2 seconds, and then come back.
Yeah.
Because the way I don't to what you're saying. Can't always choose your audience, especially when I work. That is true. You know, so I work in a few places where, you know, it's... I mean, I'll give you an example. I used to work... I have nothing against vegetarians. Lovely people. I used to work in a Whole Foods warehouse. You know, are you a vegetarian?
Vegan. Just go steady. Be careful what you next say. Whatever you say next, be careful.
No, I used to work as a Whole Foods company in Glasgow, and there was me and one of the girls in the office. We were classed as carnivores. That's what they called us. You know, we were the only 2 carnivores in the place, but they all had, you know, this strict way living and eating and all their beliefs and what have you. And when I started the I just wanted a job, basically. You know, I didn't have a clue about vegetarian. I just wanted to earn a wage, basically. But they all had this way, you know, we live our lives and we live it this way and stuff like that. And I used to say, no, because that's not who I am. I enjoy my McDonald's. I like a good steak. Now and again, you know, and I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I totally agree with you, just so I can fit in. You know, I'm who I am. If you don't like it, then I'll look for work elsewhere. But they used to try and make you feel as if you were wrong because you were eating an animal and stuff like that. I said, but I was brought up in bacon and fry-ups and all that kind of stew and all the rest of it. And just, it doesn't mean to say that I hate animals. You know, I want to go and kill all the animals. Nothing to do with that. It's just I like what I like. But they were quite judgmental. There was 1 or 2 of them were really, really judgmental. And I pulled one of them off a forklift one day, but that's another story. You know, and because just the way it was, yeah, the way they ran it, I will get to your comments, folks. The way they ran it was you did 6 months probation, and then they would sit down and decide whether you had a full-time job or not. And there was this one guy that always says no to me. No, I don't want to just put him back on probation again, put him back on probation. Because I didn't fit into his way of life. You know, because I was a carnivore, basically. And I could have went in there and said, you know, no, I'm a vegetarian as well. And, you know, because, you know, the vegetarian stuff's all right. But because I didn't fit in, it was always, no, not probation. I ended up just leaving. Because I ended up burying him somewhere in a field up the back of Glasgow or something like that, you know, with a big shovel. But I think...
Go on, sorry.
We were seeing the way my dad was, as you see, there was 2 roads. The rest of the roads, you can either be yourself. Now, this is just my opinion. You can either be yourself or you can live a lie to fit into what society deems you should be like. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Yeah, and that's a little bit what Eileen's saying there. Can't always choose your audience, especially in a work situation. Well, again, hi Tracy, I would challenge that, because just like what you just said, you didn't fit in there, and so you jogged on. You went and got a different job. And I would say the same to Eileen there, that no, you can't always pick your audience with your job, but you can pick your job. You don't have to stay in front of that same audience all of the time.
Yeah, I'll be totally honest with you, I would have kept the job because it was a good place to work. Basically, the people were all right. The 4 guys in the warehouse were the drivers and that, and
yeah.
But I ended up just leaving because of this guy, because him and I had so many run-ins.
Yeah.
And I think I would have done something to him, and I'm being honest about it. I don't know. And then I got the chance of another job I went back into driving trucks again. I thought, you know what, I'm going to take it. I'm going to, not to please him, but just to sort of save myself, maybe kind of, for doing anything rash, because this guy, you had to beat this guy to believe him.
I think the biggest thing holding back the vegan movement is vegans. because so many of them, like you said, they're judgmental. They try and force their opinion on people. They try and make people feel guilty for doing the things that they want to do, which is eating meat. Over the years, I've eaten an absolute mountain of meat, so I'm not judging anybody for eating meat. I've decided now not to. Well, that's my choice. What you eat, Scott, that's entirely up to you. It's none of my business.
Although I'll stick these comments up there and I'll tell you a wee quick story about vegans. I've never understood why people lies hurts more than the truth does. Actually, coming from my father who was an alcoholic, I was hardcore drinking for many years, like 2 bottles of wine a night. 5 years now, I really drink, which is true, she doesn't. Can't touch a drop. I think it's wrong to be measured in your reactions or behaviour towards others. Sometimes you have to temper things for the better good.
Tell me your story and let me just ponder on that a minute.
I'll stick Laura's comment in. I'm one of a kind. I never bow down to society. What society expects from me, I do what I do to make me happy, although that may be selfish to live. I brought my kids up. I wouldn't say it's selfish. It's your life, and you only get, well, you say you only get one life, so live it. And that's kind of similar to me. Going back to when I was a teenager, I could either just tell people the way I was, with Elvis or whatever it was, or I could just lie and live a lie. And I thought, do you know what? People don't like me. I don't care. That's the way my dad was. But I mean, the vegan, I'm a chef, and I used to work in a place called the little steakhouse in our town. It's shut now. And one night, with 2 vegans came in for dinner, and they were kicking up
into the steakhouse.
Aye, they were. This is true. Sarah will tell you right that night. They were kicking up holy hell because of what was on the menu. And we ended up saying to them, do you see the big sign outside that says steakhouse? No vegan house, steakhouse. And they couldn't get their minds around this. And I've not encountered a lot of vegans in my time. That sounds bad, doesn't it? To encounter a lot of vegans. But I've met a lot of vegetarians, which is totally fine. Vegans are as well. But the way these 2 went on, it was a couple. And they just couldn't get in their head why it was all like steak and chicken, gams, stuff like that. The usual kind of toys and whistles. And we were just lost for, we didn't know what to do with them. We gave them a salad or something. I think we made them up a salad or something. But they were insisting on getting fed. I thought, what the hell do we give them? Well, nothing in. Give a cheeseburger. And but it was unbelievable.
When you call it the steakhouse, it does what it says on the tin, isn't it?
Well, that's it. I mean, I've been to one vegetarian restaurant. I worked in that place. We went to, it was a Christmas night out, and they said, right, we're meeting in Grassroots in Glasgow, in the town. And I was free. I lived in Glasgow at the time. And so I went in, there was the girl in the, she'd called Fiona. So she was at the carnival. So we were sitting there and picked up the menu and like that. Where's the meat? And somebody, Dom, the guy's name was, Dom was brilliant. He says it's a vegetarian restaurant, click on. No, it was all couscous and all that kind of fancy stuff.
Yeah.
And we were like, I can't eat this. So her and I ended up going to McDonald's. We'll get you at the pub. You're going to McDonald's first. Enjoy your meal, folks. There's nothing on that menu that, you know, couscous and blah, blah, blah. Not keep it.
Yeah.
I'm going for a couple of Big Macs and stuff. Then we'll go to the pub. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those other.
Yeah. Excellent. Vegan quiche.
As a vegetarian, I have a great recipe for a vegan quiche, Paul, same as vegetarian Scott, but uses aquafab. What?
I don't know what aquafab is. What's aquafab? Well, aqua's water and fab is normally short for fabulous. So it's a quiche with fabulous water, I think.
Same as vegetarian Scott, but uses aquafab. She did, Laura, we Highland Paranormal Island a couple of weeks ago. A couple of our vegetarians, so Laura done a veggie pie kind of thing. So I think she must be referring to. She was going to do veggie quiche, but she didn't end up doing the pie. She might be referring, but I don't have a clue what aquafab is. I don't know. I really don't know. You want to get back to Eileen's comment?
I was just the one about the happiness. I do what makes me happy.
Is that the one?
No, it was on this. He said happy on the second line down towards the start. The second line.
What's this?
I think it was Eileen. That one.
It was after that one.
Yes.
That's the one Eileen put up after that. That's the one Eileen put up after that.
Oh, okay. It was one that said basically it was talking about it might sound selfish to
that was Laura.
Oh, Laura, there we go.
To make me happy. Sorry, Eileen, I thought it was you, though.
Sorry, that's right. I do what I do to make me happy, although that may be selfish. So there's two things that spring to mind for that. One is if you've been on a plane and you hear the safety talk that they give at the start, they talk about the oxygen mask coming down, and they say, put your mask on first and then help others. So it's not selfish to make yourself happy. It's not selfish to do the things that you do. But what I would just temper that is with, it's not put your mask on and screw everybody else. It's put your mask on, then help others. And the other thing is that you just have to be careful a little bit when you say, I do what I want to do to make me happy, because somebody somewhere will go, oh, there's nothing better than clubbing baby seals. Right. And it's like, well, that might make you happy, but I'm not sure whether you should be doing that. So it's just making sure that your happiness, how that impacts the people around you.
Just for your saying there, I'll just get back to what you saying, Paul, because that was a thing last night, 2 seconds. It's aquafab, it's the liquid you get in a can of chickpeas.
Waste not, want not, I guess.
No, if it can be used, it can be used.
Yeah, for sure.
But just so you were saying there about people doing things to make themselves happy, sometimes it's not the right thing. I was watching one of these crime documentaries. I don't know if you watch them. You ever watch Kendra Ray?
No.
On YouTube? She's a woman, and she covers like true crime stories, and she covers quite a lot of stories. And there's another 2 or 3 the same that I watch. I was watching one last night, and it was about a brother and sister in America, and their hobby was killing animals, basically. They used to let their pet mice, their parents had pet mice, and one day they let them out the cage and they were stamping on them, and then they just go out and just start hunting that. No for food or anything, just because that's what made them happy. So I get what you're saying there. They were going out killing whatever animal they could get a holiday, basically.
Yeah.
And this was their idea of fun,
Mm.
you know, where it was wrong. That makes sense.
And I mean, you think about alcoholics, like they're putting drink before their kids, and you go, well, yeah, that's not necessarily an ideal way of even living your own life. You know, you don't necessarily have to think about the kids, but you know, when alcohol becomes all consuming, you know, it's not a good thing.
I mean, you know, alcoholics, drug addicts, you know, a lot of them do put their kids first. And it's easy for me to sit here and say, right, you know, it should get to a stage where maybe they should sit and take a step back and say, right, well, what can I do? I know there's plenty of help out there for people, you know, with different issues and what have you. There should come a point where they should sit back and say, right, my kids are going without food or heat or whatever because I want a bottle of whiskey, basically, or, you know, whatever. I think you need to be in that position first, would you know?
I think in actual fact, I don't know in Scotland how the mental health services work up there. Where I am in Lincolnshire, they're just about to roll out a new service which is has the ability to give what we call a dual diagnosis. So at the minute, what's happening is anybody that's either got a serious drink problem or a serious drug problem can't get mental health services. And when I mean that, I don't mean kind of the crisis team for suicide prevention, that sort of thing, but I'm talking about psychiatrist appointments to be able to get drugs to help them with, let's say, psychosis, PTSD, whatever mental health, you know, severe mental health. So you can't get what they call a dual diagnosis, which is drugs and alcohol and serious mental health. But they're just going to roll out a new service because the problem that a lot of people that are using drink and drugs, they're using it as a coping strategy. They're using it as mind altering. In other words, to dull the pain, to create a better life for themselves. So if you want to party, then cocaine appears to be the thing, right? Not suggesting you should use it because death is not much of a party, but certainly as coping strategies go, like heroin and cocaine work really, really well. If that's your thing, if you were brought up with it as a kid and you saw your parents doing it and you decided to go the same way, well, I totally get why people would use illegal drugs. And the mental health service is not always helping them because they're saying, well, you might be hearing voices, you might have PTSD, but if you're drinking or doing drugs, our drugs aren't going to work. You go, well, how do you get off that bandwagon then? Because people are going to self-medicate if they're struggling, you know, to deal with the voices in their head, and cannabis or whatever works. Why would you stop if the health service can't help you?
I know. I get if these people are sitting with you know whatever drugs, whatever, and they're not getting the help, then either are going to help themselves basically, or try and help themselves in whatever way they see right. Well, geez, I'm the one that's back door would be filled with seals. Trust me, I'm one of these people. There's a cat needing home, a dog, a guinea pig. But we won't talk about guinea pigs. We'll leave guinea pigs out of things. Laura takes stray cats in. Cats just turn up at her door and, you know, she feeds them, and I think that's why they keep coming back. Laura makes a good point here, but in this one, well, I think she makes a good point. The functioning alcoholics, which she was for years, my kids come. I know her two kids, son and a daughter, and they're brilliant. They're not kids anymore. They're grown up. Do you know what I mean? And they've been well looked after and what have you. But the other side of the coin being that you get, as well as functioning alcoholics, you know, holding a job or whatever, by night time they're into the wine, whatever, you know, but all their bills are paid, the kids are healthy, clean. But then there's the other side of the coin where, and it happens all over the UK, that it's the other way around. You know, and I'm not judging these people. You know, don't get it. I'm not sitting here judging because I'm lucky enough never to have been in that kind of situation, so I can't judge, and I don't think anybody should judge them because maybe they're not actually bad people. Maybe they've just been through something in their life that's, you know, as you were saying earlier on, Paul, maybe it was the way they were brought up as their parents, so they've got in their head, well, this is the way we should live, or maybe they've been through something in their life that's made them turn to, you know, whatever it is that they're using.
Absolutely. And so if you think about a homeless person, and I hear this, you know, regularly about, I'll buy them a food, but I won't give them money because they'll spend it on drugs. Well, heroin might be the only way they can get through today. Because if you were living on the streets, I think I would probably be doing something, because I don't know how you would live with the insecurity of sleeping in a shop doorway. I've
watched a few documentaries on homeless people. One was what was the name of that guy that did that homeless at Christmas in Glasgow?
Oh, I can't remember.
Oh, there was a guy, Laura might know who it is. There was a guy, it's a Scottish guy, and he went homeless for about a week. It was a week leading up to Christmas, at Christmas Day. Homeless in Glasgow, just to try and get the message across what these people went through. And he said many times, look, I'm only doing this for a week, so, you know, in a 3 days time I'll be home, but these people won't be. These people will still be doing the same as they're doing. They're now cowering in doorways, hoping somebody's going to notice them, you know, give them a tenner or a sandwich or something. So I suppose, you know, if you're in that kind of situation, you need to do what you think is best to get you through to the next day.
Yeah.
It might be wrong, you know. Nobody's perfect. You might make the wrong decision, but for you at that time, it might be the right decision. And you think, well, this is going to give me a wee boost to get me through to the weekend. You know, and it's the old vicious cycle, I think. You know.
Yeah, and you hope that you know, one day they find the right person, or they're just in the right frame of mind, and they do go and get some help, and it works. And you know, some people will find that, you know, like Laura's there saying that she came off alcohol herself because there was no help available. I mean, that's sensational. To be able to do it yourself is fantastic. There's definitely great services out there that are helping people. There's a lot more that we could be doing, I'm sure. But sometimes it is just getting through the day. And then we'll fight tomorrow.
Exactly. The guy's not there anymore, but I'm sure you can Google him and YouTube him. The A9 is a road that runs from Dunblane right up to Inverness and beyond, right up. But between Pitlochry and Inverness, there was a lay-by, and there was a guy who lived in his car. It was a silver Merc. And he lived in his car on the southbound side of this lay-by, and he was there for years. And you could Google it. He became quite famous, this guy. He was an older guy, you know. But there was washing line up and that outside the car and what have you. And the army would come at the winter time and give him the survival outfit kind of thing. And I stopped sometimes as well, and I down my truck and gave him sandwiches and what have you. And this guy actually used to be a very successful businessman. And because nobody knew his background or whatever, and then he actually eventually told the story. He was a very, very successful, but he was minted. But he'd get into a business partnership with the wrong kind of guy. The guy basically robbed him. And he lost his money, business. He lost a lot. The only thing he could keep was his car. And this guy, and there's a lot of people turned their nose up at him. because he was seen as a homeless bum, you know, because he was living in a lay-by basically in the back of a car. But it wasn't through any fault of his own, but this guy became quite famous. I don't know where, I think he eventually got a house somewhere. But loads of people used to stop and give him sandwiches or, you know, whatever. Yeah. And I'd see him like 2-3 times a week, passing the other truck with you know, toot our horns, as they say, can buy the guy and that, you know. But it was just the way. And my point to this is that sometimes life deals you a crap hand, and you're left in the bucket basically through no fault of your own. There's a lot of these people, homeless people, in Glasgow, London, wherever it may be. I watched a lot of documentaries and they interviewed them and say, look, I used to have a wife and a house and that, but times just get hard or whatever. And I've got nothing, I'm on the streets. I was a counsellor to long-term unemployed for years, spent most of my time sorting out social needs, not employment issues, because their immediate needs need to be addressed before anything. I suppose the social needs, like, somewhere to live, somewhere warm, stuff, a roof over their heads, food, stuff like that. And then look into, don't get me wrong, I've heard a few stories of people who have been on the streets and they have put the work in and they've got themselves sorted. They've been lucky enough to get that break. I find that one person that say, look, I can help you, come with me, and they've got their own flat and all the rest of it now. Yeah. It's just the way life goes, I think.
Yeah, I think there's things. There's an old story about a farmer ploughed his field and prepared the land. He sowed the seed at exactly the right time. He fed it and watered it exactly how he should have done. It grew magnificently. And the day before he was due to harvest it, there was a hailstorm and it destroyed the lot. And it's like, like you did everything right. Do you sell the farm or do you plough it in and do you start again? So as you say, sometimes things are out of your control through no fault of your own. It's trying to play the cards the best you can.
That's it. Sometimes you just find, things happen in life and you need control over them. And you think, right, well, where did I go for here?
Yeah.
And I think we've all been in a position in life at one point, whether it be money or family or whatever, where we think, right, where do I go for here? I've not got money for next month's rent or something like that,
Yeah, we've all got, you get to a certain age and you've all got a story like that. I mean, that's one of the reasons I like helping people so much, is because I've been there and I've done that. My mum passed away in 2008 when the recession was hitting, and I had depression for a couple of years, but because I'm a bloke, I didn't realise it was a depression and I didn't go and get any help. I had a business, it went pear-shaped. Jack that in, 3 months behind on my rent. The banks were calling me, no money, huge pile of letters unopened. I understand that burying your head in the sand, which is what I did, it doesn't work, but it does work for today.
It works for that one day, but no for tomorrow.
It's a temporary fix, and luckily I managed to get out of it. And you try and help other people before they get to that point. And I think it's having the nous to ask for help before you get to the bottom of the pit. The sooner you can ask for help and get some help, whether that's a life coach or whether it's your mate or whether it's Citizens Advice Bureau or whether it's drug and alcohol services, whatever it is. Whatever your thing is, get some help sooner rather than later.
I mean, I've in the past I've been, I wouldn't say put down, but slide off because I don't tend to worry about things. you know, and my way of looking at it is, and I got this from my dad as well, actually, that, say, for instance, it's an unpaid bill, right? Just for talking, say it's an unpaid bill. People say, you never worry about stuff like that. You know, that's what you should be worried about. I said, but no. I said, because if you sit and worry about, say, an unpaid bill, you don't sleep, blah, blah, blah. You know, the next morning, the bill's still sitting there, but you feel like crap because you've not slept and you're even more stressed out. I say, so I don't see the point of sitting worrying about it. You try and work out how you're going to pay it, but getting all stressed out and all worried, it's not worth it.
Well, I think everything is two sides of the same coin, right? So not worrying about your bills is a blessing and a curse, right? So I'm 6'3", right, which is a blessing and a curse, because if you want something off the top shelf, if you want, you know, we put our, you know, your spare kitchen towels, kitchen rolls, they go on the top of our units in our kitchen. You want one off there, no problem. There you go. Thank you very much. But when I go into our 5-foot loft, being 6'3" is a nightmare. Being 6'3" is a blessing and a curse, right? Not worrying about your bills is a blessing and a curse, because no, you don't stress, but then you possibly, you don't necessarily budget as well as you could do. You maybe don't go on 5 holidays a year because you spend it on stuff because you're relaxed. There's no criticism there, because I'm relaxed as well, you know, and I don't tend to worry about too much. But it can also have the detrimental side, is that for myself, for a long time, I've been broke. The first, let's say, 45 years of my life, I've been broke every day. And it didn't worry me, but it held me back. So not worrying is a blessing and a curse. Being tall is a blessing and a curse. Being kind is a blessing and a curse. Being angry is a blessing and a curse.
I've been there as well. You know, I think you're an inspiration and you should be proud of what you do. So that'll be a compliment for you, Paul.
I think she was talking to you, mate.
I should talk to you.
Let's say she's talking to both of us.
We'll share it. Yeah. I'll take the first 4 words, you can have the rest.
I think there's a high five there, mate.
Yeah, that's a wee high five. I better not do that. I'll knock my camera off. The 5 years I've known Scott, I've learned it. Thank you very much, Laura. Thank you very much. You know, a lot of people used to think I was a snob. You know, and I'm going back quite a few years. You used to think because I had a house and, you know, the rest, that I was a snob. But I used to say, you couldn't get any further away from being snobby than me. I grew up in Pollock, which is the roughest area in Glasgow. You know what I mean? And there was times where I didn't have 2 bits of bread to put together. Never mind the margarine. You know, and so we've all been there, but you get a lot of these people who would no admit that they're skint. You know, again, it's coming back to fitting in.
Yeah.
You know, by your group of friends or whatever. But I used to see people that, you know, an example is if there's a big night out in the work coming up, you know, and everybody's going, but you don't get the money. Sometimes people need another person to see the big picture and plot a course towards achievement. Sometimes people do. I agree with that. Sometimes people need somebody to say to them, like, take a step back and look at the whole screen instead of that one corner. And then, you know, make a decision or whatever, you know, whatever it is. So sometimes you need somebody just to give you that wee look at the big picture, not just, you know, the wee portrait kind of thing. But, you know, for example, a big night out coming in the work, I've been in this position a few times, and, you know, we're all going out Friday night, been arranged for weeks, blah, blah, blah. And I say, oh, no, I'm not going. And you'll get somebody who say, oh, no, I've got another engagement that night, I've got planned that night. But I'll say, no, I'm not going because I'm skint. Can't afford it. And if people don't like that, then fine. But I've known people that have said, you know, oh, I can't go, it's my auntie's birthday, and so it's your auntie's birthday. I know I'm skint, but I'm not telling anybody else I'm skint. So just tell them you're skint. You know.
Yeah, but, no, absolutely. But also, I think if you're in the right tribe, if you're in the right group of friends, there's a good chance that your mates will go, "We'll cover you." Like, we'll just go for a couple of pints. We don't have to make it 10 pints. And your mates look after you if you've got the right mates and you're in the right group of friends. Whereas if you can't tell your friends that you're skint, how close are you to them friends?
I get what you mean, but then the other side of that coin is, and I've been in this position, it was even, like I said, I started a job at Kilmarnock years ago, but we didn't get paid for, I think it was like 5-6 weeks. So we to wait, it was monthly paid, but because of your starting date, it was about 6 weeks before we get paid. But then, stupid heat here, I put the wrong digit on the form. I get my digits mixed up. So everybody else's wages went in, but mine didn't.
Yeah.
I was the only one that never get paid, but we couldn't work out. And then one of the manager showed me the forms. I said, wait a minute, that's the wrong bank number. I put it in the wrong way. So he phoned payroll, basically says, look, they say it'll be another, 7 to 10 days because we need to. They'd sent my wages to somewhere else. But So everybody planned this big night out on the day, payday. I said, well, I'm not going because I've not been paid, basically. So, before we come up, we'll buy you a beer. Just come. I said, no, I'm not. I said, no, I'm not. Thanks anyway. I do appreciate it, but I'm not doing that because I couldn't go to a night out sitting there without £5 in my pocket and everybody else coming out and handing me beers and that on it. I get what you're meaning, but I think that then you start touching on the pride side.
Yeah.
Which was maybe my problem. If you want, I don't know if it's a problem or whatever. But you start thinking, no, I couldn't sit there. I mean, it was a great bunch of guys and girls that I worked with. Yeah. We'd been working together for 6 weeks, every day. But I just couldn't do it. I just could not. I'm not going. So I missed it out. I said, well, I'll go to the next one.
Yeah.
Which I did.
So that was that's a blessing and a curse, that you don't want to be beholden to other people. However you want to phrase that. I don't take charity. I don't want to be beholden to somebody. Neither a lender nor borrower be. Whatever the phrase is, it's a blessing and a curse because you didn't want to owe your mates, but the curse is you missed out on a really good night.
Aye, but then I didn't have a hangover the next day like they all did, so it was a good job.
Yeah.
But I couldn't. Laura's saying that's where it's coming from. You, Scott. You were a snob. I'm sorry, but what was your? See, we first met Laura. We were working as a kind of community hub. So I think it was a volunteer place where Sarah and I were part of. Laura was there as well, and she always came across as snobby. Well, I'm from Pollock, as I say, so anybody top posher than me was a snob, basically, but we always thought Laura was a snob until we got to know her. It was lovely lady. But I missed doing a good night out, but I couldn't do it. One of the guys, pardon me, it was ages with me, Graham, his name was, and he came up and says, listen, why are you not going? He says, I'll give you a dig out, which is, a sub basically. And it's between, I says, no, I'm not taking money off you and sitting there spending somebody else's money. I just can't do it. And maybe that was, it was a pride thing, but then I think we're getting back again to the fitted in bit. They all get money. I've got no money. Do I really fit in with them now, even though I know them and we're all friends? I'm the odd one out here, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, it's perfectly logical in your mind. Because our logic is only logical to us. So you know, if they were good mates and you said, you know, I'll spot you a tenner, give it me back when you get paid, because you know you're going to get paid. It's just gone in the wrong bank account. It's like, where's the harm?
I get what you mean. I think I would have been thinking the same as them if the shoe had been on the other foot. You know, if I'd been paid and there was one guy there that hadn't been paid. So me turning around and saying to them, I'm not going, I've no money, I'm not drinking everybody else's beer on it. That made sense to me. But I think, as I say, if the shoe had been on the other foot and, you know, say John had no money, but we knew he was getting paid, after turning and said, well, don't sit daft, just come. You know, you're going to miss out on a good night out. So
Yeah.
just come with us, you know, buy a couple of pints, whatever, and that's it, you know. So I can see you mean it makes sense on both sides.
Yeah.
To,
There's a great phrase I heard years ago, and it said, "The definition of wisdom is the ability to follow your own advice."
sometimes I follow my advice and not a good idea. In life, you need to know your worth. Don't be made to feel any less worthy than others. It's about awareness. And exactly, you know, confidence is a big thing. And confidence, I don't mean confidence to go out and say, oh, look at me, I'm special or I'm great, but it's just having the confidence if you want to do something. Like, say, podcasts, you know, an example. A lot of people don't like doing them because they don't have, and it's no disrespect to them, it's the way they might be camera shy or they're no good with the gab, you know, the talking, stuff like that. So I think if you've got the confidence to do something, then just go and do it.
Well, that's getting over the fear of what, I mean, what is the worst case scenario of putting out a rubbish podcast? Like three people watch it for 3 minutes and then turn it off. Like, that pretty much is as bad as it gets. Like, somebody might leave a really nasty comment, but it's probably unlikely because they're probably just moving on to the next one. So, like, the fear is deep in our brain, but what we want to try and do is use the logical front part of the brain, which is called the prefrontal cortex. It's just the thing that helps you count, for instance. Like, no other animal counts like we count because they're not logical. They can't rationalize. They can't think. So if somebody's watching this and they're going, I've been thinking about doing a podcast, like, record any kind of rubbish, it don't matter, and post it. Just do like 1 minute, do 30. Like, if you haven't got the gift of the gab, like me and you can both talk. We don't have a problem.
Well, I'm Glaswegian, right? You know.
So if you struggle to talk, do a 30-second podcast. Put it in you know, instead of putting Paul at Pulse down here, you put Joe from Botswana. It don't matter, right? You could create an email address and an account. You start posting some stuff, you'll get better at it. Mm-hmm. Like, when you started tying your shoelaces when you were 3, you were rubbish. We were all rubbish. The more you did it, the better you got. And after a fortnight, your shoelaces stayed tied up for 10 minutes. And after you've been doing it 3 months, they stay tied up all day. The more you do it, the better you get.
100%. I'm so glad you say that, lovely lady. I know where you live. She's no kidding. She's got binoculars. I'm not going to tell you who she watches, but she's got binoculars. So beware. I mean, I need to ask you, who this comment, Laura, who was that about? Was that about Paul or me? You've not answered that one yet. You know, I need to find out. I'm too nosy. But no, I totally agree. You know, and again, we're just using the example of podcast. Just go ahead and try it. When we first started this, we sucked big time. You know, we didn't think we'd last more than a month, but we were, come June, July, we were 5 years, you know, and our first few lives were just, in the toilet, basically. Do you know what I mean? But, you know, well, we're doing what we enjoy, you know, and we're going to keep doing it. And so don't get me wrong, we've done some podcasts people haven't liked, but you know yourself, Paul, you're not going to please the world. You know.
Well, nor should you be trying to. That makes no sense because, like, some people don't like peaches. Like, peaches are gorgeous, but some people don't like them. Like, not everybody likes everything. And
It'd be boring.
Like I do a video often in a morning, not every morning, but I often do a video. I do it on my phone as I'm walking around our village. I do it during my morning walk. I mean, you've got a fancy background, not like my fancy background.
That's just...
People come up with, I haven't got a good enough camera. My microphone isn't good enough. I haven't got a backdrop. There you go, right? All of them, they're all excuses. There's no reason why anybody can't get a video up in 10 minutes. Create a YouTube channel, an account, post. It's done.
Aye, there's a prime example. Laura's starting her own podcast thing on here on Tuesday. We'll do my first podcast Tuesday. I'm scared a little of what I have no idea. At the end of the day, it's my podcast, my stories. Even the last 20 minutes, I'm happy. I've said to her, you know, she says she's scared. I think it's because she's never. Oh, there we go. There's your answer there. Well, Paul, to be honest, but your answer was too Scott. I need to say that. So it was you she was talking about. Not me. You know,
I was never in any doubt, to be honest. But
whatever.
I'm naturally positive, so I kind of see the good in everything. So you know,
yeah, but see, you need to be positive. You know, see all these people. No offense to them, but woe is me, and my life sucks, and all that. I think, oh, seriously, do you know what I mean? Just go and dig a hole somewhere. You know. Whatever, leave me alone. You need to be positive in life, and you know I say we've all been in situations where life sucked and you can't see a way out of it. But at the end of the day, it's worked out one way or another. You know, whether it be financial or home-wise, whatever, it's always kind of worked out. But so Laura's doing her first podcast on Tuesday. I'm not telling you what it's about because it's her podcast. But she is nervous about doing it. And I've told her, just go on and just be yourself. You know, and that's it. And she's put a lot of work and research into it. So I think it'll last more than 20 minutes. Laura, actually, dear. Well, she's saying at the bottom of the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's just having that wee bit of confidence just to say, right, you know what, I'm going to do it. And that's it. And see what happens. If I fall flat in my face, then fine. At least I tried. Didn't work. But if I do it and it works out, fantastic.
I think from Laura's perspective about doing that podcast, it's what would success look like? Like, would doing 20 minutes mean that it'd been a success? What is it that you're actually, Laura, trying to achieve? And I'm not asking you to answer this, but maybe just think it over. Is go with the end in mind. In other words, what is it that you want to achieve on week one? And that might be one viewer, 20 minutes long. If you get one viewer and it's 20 minutes long, I'm all good. If you go, I want 1,000 viewers and it needs to be 90 minutes long, you might be setting yourself up for failure because very few of us get 1,000 on our first one. So it's like, what does success look like? Because then you can go into it being realistic and go into it like, if you got 3 people and it was 15 minutes, is that success? I don't know. Makes no difference what I think or what Scott thinks. It only matters what Laura thinks.
But at the end of it, I've spoken to Rigger as he runs Spig with a team in Glasgow. Ricky and I have spoken about this before doing podcasts, and I mean, a lot of people are driven by views and they're worried about how many views and that you get. But at the end of the day, Ricky and I both says, you know, I don't care. It may affect the people who watch, obviously. It's not about how many views you get. It's about doing what you enjoy doing. I enjoy doing these shows. I enjoy meeting people. Chat, as you say, Paul, you and I can be talk, you know, and talking to people, learning, you know, having a laugh and all that kind of stuff. And if 5 people watch, fine. If 500 people watch, great. Don't get, we've done, you know, we have done podcasts and a lot of views. So you do say to yourself, you know, again, coming back to the appreciation, but, you know, we get, you know, 500 views on that show. That's pretty good, you know. But that's it. You move on. Because that's in the bag. You've done that show. You're happy with the views, but then and your next show you might get 3 people watching.
So, you know. So this, just putting my life coach hat back on, this is connected. I think I don't know you well enough to know for sure, but it's that not worrying about paying your bills and not worrying how many people get to see your videos is why you're not Joe Rogan.
I'm going to be totally stupid here. Who's Joe Rogan?
You don't know him?
I've never heard of Joe Rogan. Have you heard of Joe Rogan? No. Sorry, folks.
How can you be a podcaster and not know who Joe Rogan is?
Who's
He
Joe
gets
Rogan?
like, you know, like, I don't know, 50 million or more than that.
Oh, no.
And 50 million views for everyone he does, and he's doing 2 or 3 a week.
Well, just to get my view, because I don't even know who the guy is. Hold up, these comments there, I'll come back to that. Well, I had to give a presentation to Prince Charles because my boss was too nervous. Names, titles, he said, don't press me or phase me. That's it. They're just at the end of the day. I'm glad Eileen brought that up because I did another show and that kind of came up as well, which I'll come back to. No, you're right, Paul. The amount of people has no consequence to me. What matters is I tell the story and I tell it well. You know, that's it. We're not driven by views. We never have been. The same as we're not driven by people who say, oh, come and join me, come and follow. We've never asked anybody to follow us. I'd rather give people the choice. Do you want to follow us or not? Tie it up to you. Views-wise, it isn't. We're no. That's no why we do it, you know. And sometimes we've done shows with 3 views. But that's it. You know, that's life. And I think if you sit and worry about how many views you're going to get or how many views you're trying to get, then it affects you. It stresses you out. And it affects you doing your podcast. So you could make a total balls up here because you're sitting there thinking, oh, how many people's watching, how many people, and so you're concentrating on that, and the true reason you're doing the podcast goes out the window. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, if success is the ability to tell her story, then she's pretty much guaranteed success Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
I would say there's an idea that if you're going to do a talk on something, you need at least 3 times as much material as the time you're going to spend talking. So in other words, if I was going to talk about dopamine for an hour, I would need to be able to talk about it for 3 hours if I was going to talk about it off the cuff. In other words, not reading it off a speech. So because there'll be something that she'll look back on Wednesday and go, I never said X, Y, and Z.
I've done that.
It don't matter.
1,000 times.
For sure. So that's the thing that it's not going to be perfect Tuesday, like nothing ever is, right? Just do it, enjoy it, success. Jobs are good.
That's what I agree, Paul. I know Laura's listening, and it's no putting it down or anything, but Tuesday, it'll probably not be 100% perfect. The first one, it's not going to be, you know what I mean, to say we done quite a few. Your podcast still aren't perfect, as you can tell. But however, Do you know what I mean? It's just you do what you enjoy doing. You tell your story. She has done a lot of work on it, and it might not be 100% perfect, but you know, as time goes on, it might get better and better, and that's it. You've got to start somewhere, and it's all about having that confidence. I mean, I've got two prime examples about confidence. One involves Sarah, one involves Wallace. That was Sarah. She was learning to drive, but before she obviously, I'll never be able to drive, never ever be able to drive. I said, look, just go out and try it. You know, so we got to put her on the insurance of the car, and she was doing really quite well. We're driving. I said, there you go. You're driving because you had that bit of confidence to go and do it. Mm-hmm. Same as Laura. There's a place we investigate, Loudon-Kirk. We've done it for about 3 years, but there was down the back of the Kirk, none of the girls would ever go. So one night I says to Laura, right, I want you to do a lone vigil down the back of the Kirk for 20 minutes. And she but she did it. You know, she did. She was doing, and she done it. I was sitting in the car watching her. You know, I was literally 2 minutes away from her, and she did it on a live, so I was sitting watching her. But she had a wee bit of confidence just to go and do it. So I mean, she might have lasted 5 minutes. You know, same as Sarah might have lasted 5 minutes with her driving. But the point was, they had the confidence and they went out and did it regardless of what other people were saying.
Yeah.
And this is why it comes back to me saying, I don't worry about what people think of me. You know, we do what we do, and that's it. You're never going to please everybody in life. And stressing out and all that is just a load of bollocks to me. I might be wrong. I don't know. Yeah. You know, Eileen's got the popcorn in. You know, but I'm looking forward to the podcast on Tuesday. See, it's not about views and that. It's just going and enjoying it. And I think if you let how's this going to go kind of thing, you know, then that just ruins the whole thing. And Eileen made a good point as well about titles and, you know, titles. I mean, I've it sounds big, it's no meant to. We've interviewed quite a few big names, film stars, you know, directors. I don't know if you've ever watched the Saw films or no.
No, I'm not into that. The horror stuff, isn't it?
With one of the major stars of the Saw films on as well last year. And, you know, these are big names, but at the end of the day, when I started talking to them, they're just normal people.
Yeah.
You know, and I have a laugh and a joke. And the two of them, David Espinosa Craig, they run CRA Entertainment, a film company, so we're working with them on our Wallace sale, and another thing we're doing in Edinburgh this summer. But these people, at the end of the day, and I said this, the Costas Mandalore, he played Detective Hoffman in the Saw films. But I say he's worked with like Jack Nicholson, etc., etc. And I says to him on the show, all these big names you worked with.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, did you find they were just down to earth people? And he said, basically, aye. You know, I mean, you're talking about Jack Nicholson, folk like that, major Hollywood legend. But at the end of the day, they're just, and so I like what Eileen was saying there about, at the end of the day, it's a title. That's all it is.
Well, it's interesting that she said that her boss couldn't do it because the boss was too scared. It's like,
I can get that. I mean, before I did the show with Costas that night, Sarah will tell you, Laura will tell you as well, I was nervous. I don't get nervous before shows. You know, just to phase me. But that night, I think it's because I'm a massive Saw fan.
Right, yeah.
I have been since 2004, since the first one came out. So it was the thought that I was going to be, I think it was more excitement than anything. Because, you know, this is Mark Hoffman. I'm going to be talking to Mark Hoffman tonight.
Yeah.
I hope I don't balls it up. You know, it's called starstruck or whatever the term you are, I don't know. So before that show, I was kind of nervous and stressed out, and we've got a carport. I was pacing up doing the carport, smoking and stuff. Sarah will tell you, won't I?
Aye.
And Sarah was saying, oh, you'll be fine, say, but Mark Hoffman, I'm got to be talking to, you know.
But if you'd not started this podcast, you would never have had the opportunity to speak to him.
Aye, 100%. We've said that so many times. We
Yeah.
comment to a lot. Thanks, I know you will just be. I'm proud of myself to do this. It's a passion, right, and I hope to do it justice. I know you're bang on there, Paul. And I've said this many a time. I'm originally from Glasgow, as you know, but we live in Kilmarnock, which is a small town on the west coast of Scotland. It's nothing major or whatever. But the people that we've spoke to over the last 4.5 bit years, it's people we would never, including yourself, you know, Barrie, you as I mentioned.
Barrie, yeah.
We Tracy as well. Tracy, we're doing Tracy and I are doing a series of on Henry VIII. You know, Tracy. We've met film stars, actors, historians, you know, and Simon Entwistle. There's a lot of big names, and it's people we would never have met in our lifetime if we hadn't been doing this.
Yeah. So from Laura's perspective, who knows where this will end up? Like Tuesday night is a big night because it's her first one, but you never know who you might bump into from her podcast in 6 months, 2 years, 10 years. Who knows?
That's it. You don't know where you and it's no. I socialised with a lot of names, and Island used to be a wag, and the bigger ones were really normal. Perry and George Best were my buddies at the awards. I will have to write a book. You will have to write a book one day, Eileen, actually. But I see, that's what I was saying. The bigger ones were really normal. I mean, one of the biggest ones was Patty Negri, who's a kind of major name in Hollywood and what have you. And she's been on loads of TV programs, magazines, you know, you name it. And we first interviewed her 3 years ago or something. And folk were saying, how the hell did you get Patty Negri? Sort of thing. And when she came on, she's really down to earth.
Yeah.
I knew she has a good friend of ours, and we've had her on quite a few times. And they're just normal people. And as you say, you know, Tuesday night's a big night for Laura. I'll be on the panel. I'm just warning people now. I'll be on the panel. I'll not be saying anything. Laura will be doing the chatting. It's a big night for her, but I think they'll be totally fine. You know, and so you need to watch Paul now. You know that.
Yeah.
You need to be chatting in the 9 o'clock Tuesday. You kind of signed yourself into it now.
Yeah.
You know, Island's got the popcorn in. But I'm going to ask, no way I said we'd run for an hour, but I'm going to wind up there. But I want to bring you back on another time because I think we could just talk all night, you know, about everything. I will ask you one question before we wind, but I will keep a hold of you after we come off. I will ask you one question. What's your thoughts on the paranormal? I need to ask you because you're friends with, you know, I see Debbie, Bazza, Tracy. Yeah. So I need your input. Not a big long spiel. Do you believe?
That's fair. It's like the name is on the tin, isn't it? Paranormal in history. So I'm surprised how little we've spoken about it. To be fair, I'm neither a believer or a non-believer. I think so. I had a guy I used to talk to, and he used to say that if you think about taste and touch, they're very immediate, and then you've got sight and sound, and they're further afield. Smell is kind of in the middle. And he said, I can feel feelings of people that I can't see. So he'd got somebody he knew was in hospital, and he said they're feeling really relaxed now. And I think you can kind of take that with a pinch of salt if you want to, but I'm kind of open to it that well, if he says so, I'll take his word for it. I'm not going to be skeptical about it because I can't do it. And I think the paranormal for me is kind of the same. I think off air when we was talking, I was saying I'm more spiritual than religious, because from a religious point of view, I can't get my head around life after death. So, which kind of is religion, like you're going on somewhere or you're coming back again. And same with paranormal, that I struggle with the idea of ghosts. That being said, I've twice spoken to my spirit guide. And I don't know where the heck that came from, but it was definitely two conversations that I had. Now, whether I had it with my subconscious, I don't know. I wasn't under the influence because I don't drink or do drugs. So I was definitely, sane, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm open to all ideas, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
You're open-minded.
Yeah, like I think proof is very difficult, isn't it? It's like life after death. It's like, well, how is anybody actually going to prove it one way or the other?
See, that's we've Laura saying she's nervous. Don't be nervous, though. I would talk to you before then anyway. You say great, thanks for great live, guys. But I know what you mean about the proving it and what have you. And there are teams, groups, probably they said we're going to prove the paranormal exists and stuff like that. It's like a crusade for them. We are going to prove. We don't say that because you can't guarantee you can do that. What we do is we'll go and we'll investigate, and we've been quite fortunate in our investigations that we have had quite a lot of EVPs, etc., that we cannot explain. We never ever state, we're quite strict about it, that it's paranormal. We always say, well, this is what we picked up. We can't explain it. What's your thoughts? We leave it for other people to decide. They can either say dismiss it, or they can say, well, we'll always just say we can't explain it. Everybody in our team has had a kind of personal experience, or two or three, that they cannot explain. They could only have been from somebody in spirit. A lot of people don't believe that. Eileen, Laura, know what I'm talking, Sarah as well, she know what I'm talking about. It's when you get that personal experience, and because I've spoken to a lot of people and they say, well, paranormal. I say, well, have you ever had something happen to you that you cannot explain? It could be a smell. You think you've heard something, you've seen something, and you just can't explain it. I said, well, who's to say that's no paranormal? I'm not saying it is, but who's to say it's not? We've done investigations and we've smelt paint or smelt perfume where there shouldn't be any. We've heard noises in locations where that noise just does not fit. An example is, like Laura, husband and I did an investigation of Loudon Cut one night, and we heard a metal clang. It was the only way I could describe it. And we went hunting for it. And there was nothing there that could have made that noise. I did a lone Halloween walk a couple of years ago in Loudon Cut, and I felt my hoodie, 2 tugs on my sleeve. And I was the only one there. And I was 2 sharp tugs on my left sleeve. I couldn't explain it, but I know it happened because I felt it. And I wasn't drunk, wasn't in drugs or nothing. Yeah. And so it's things like that. When they happen, they've happened. Or you get a collective one. An example being, we did a location with Spig one night in Glasgow. It's a big building, and there was about 10 or 11 of us there, and we all came out. I think it was one of the gym halls, and we came into a corridor, and we heard this little girl saying, hello. Everybody heard at the same time. Everybody stopped and turned around. And so that was an experience where you could be in a crowd, you're the only one that's heard it, and you maybe say other people, did you hear that? I said, no, I never heard anything. Everybody there heard it, and we all stopped at the same, say, what did you hear? What did you hear? and I heard the wee girl say hello. You know, it's when you get things like that I say a lot of the say about no fitting in. That little girl didn't fit into where we were. You know, because this was late at night. It was the building was locked. So, you know, nobody had any kids there. So that voice did not fit in with that location at that time. But we all heard it. So it's when you get things like this that you think, I'm 80% believer, 20% skeptic. You need to have that wee bit of a skeptic in you. There are tons of teams out there that 100%, every noise that happens is paranormal. You know, you can't be like that. You need to have that, I say 20%, that you can sit back and think, right, well, I heard that noise. Where could it have came from? Let's go and have a look and we'll see. But then if nothing fits into where you are, then you think, well, I definitely heard that. So, you know, what was it? But I want to bring you back. We could talk paranormal then.
For sure.
What do you reckon? That's fine. That's fine. But I'll keep a hold of you after we come off. So Laura's asking, but I was just going to ask anyway, where can people find you?
Facebook is my social media of choice. You can see I put Paul at Pulse. Everybody knows me as Paul at Pulse. Nobody seems to know my surname because I've been marketing myself as Paul at Pulse for 20 years. So if you look in Facebook made it so that you couldn't have symbols. So my username is paul.at.pulse. That's my personal page because we're not allowed that squiggly, whatever the technical name is for one of them squiggly @ signs.
Yes. So you're technical like me, the squiggly sign.
It is what it is.
That's like me. Some of the signs I know, you know, but they're totally low. So I just say, like, so there's one on the weather map. Cheryl will tell you, innit? We've got the weather. You've got the weather app you get in the phone, you know, and you've got sunshine and all the rest of it. There's one symbol, it's like wavy lines.
All right.
I have no clue. And I say it's like squiggly lines, waves. I don't have a clue what it means, but that's how I describe it. So I'm the same as you with the squiggly, but you know, it's some of these are tech geniuses. Sarah's quite good with our tech. She does our tech stuff, but me, I'm thick as a square slice sausage, basically. So if you look him up, paul.at.pulse.
Yes.
That right, aye.
That's it. Well, we post on each other's pages or like stuff. They'll find me somewhere on your page, no doubt.
I just have a look in your page, folks, and I'm sure you'll find them. I'll post the link up anyway, for you to go hunting for them. But I'll keep a hold of you for a wee minute after we come off. So big thanks to this guy. We finally got him on, and we've been on for nearly that's an hour and 3/4, which is not too bad. Not too bad, but we need to cut it short there, folks. I'm up for the school run in the morning as well.
I'm glad you're paying by the minute anyway. It's all good.
We've never actually paid a guest to come on. We did the one couple, shall we say, last year. I invited them on and they were wanting paid for it. I was like, sod off.
Yeah.
I'm from Glasgow. I grudge the pound that you put in the trolley all day, even though you're getting it back. I grudge that. You know what I mean? But they were wanting paid to come on. I was like, no, listen, mate, you're on channel. We don't pay folk to come on. You either say aye or no.
For sure.
That's the way the ball rolls, you know what I mean? But no, they were wanting paid. Do one. Joke's on. So big thanks to this guy for coming on. You will be seeing him again, as we say, and we'll talk paranormal stuff, but we're going to wind it up there, folks. So we're back tomorrow night with a friend of this guy, Debbie Ison.
Yeah.
We are going to be chatting about how much spirit has control over all our wee electronic gadgets with cameras, microphones, stuff like that. And also, are our loved ones around us all the time, or do they just come to us when times of trouble or stress? So that's tomorrow night with Debbie. who is associated this. I think he's in the same kind of line of work he is, no?
Yeah, she's a little bit more. I don't really want to use the word woo-woo because that's not really right. But she's more
Nuts.
Reiki, hypnotherapy, past life regression. I think she does. Whereas I'm a bit more mainstream, if you like, doing life coaching.
She's a bit up there and you're more down there, basically.
Yeah, I think that would be a really good way of putting it. Yeah, she's really interesting, is Debbie. I love talking to Debbie because she's always got something to say that's a bit different. So yeah, she'll be good tomorrow. Well, you've had her multiple times, I think, already on the show.
I think that'll be her fourth time, I think.
Yeah.
I know she's a nice lassie, you know, and she's laid back and she just doesn't care, basically, same as us, you know.
Well, I think there's definitely somebody that will say it as it is. I don't think she's too worried about, upsetting people. She's in her right tribe.
She's not too worried about upsetting people and stuff, which is the right way to be. We've actually spoken about that. I think it was our first show ever. She's not that she doesn't respect other people's feelings and that, obviously she does, but she's not one of these people to, I better not say that, I better not say this. Say it. People don't like it, then they can get on a train, basically. You know what I mean? But excuse me. We'll wind up there, folks. So again, big thanks to him. He's over there. He's not, because if he was in there, he'd be in your kitchen. He's there. He's in there. And we will be seeing him again, and we shall see you tomorrow night at the same time. Well, not this time, but 9 o'clock. All right, folks. So enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you soon. Bye. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Scott.